Well, Matt James, we've had to come and stand in the shade because it's flipping warm here at Brands Hatch, isn't it? 2 weekends of sunshine. What's that all about?
It's almost as hot at Donington. It's great, yeah. It's Brands Hatch in the sunshine. What's a better place to be?
Absolutely. So FP1 is over and done with, Matt, and everybody is coming out of the car saying, wow, an enormous amount of grip from the new tarmac, and wow, we need to look at what that's going to do to the tyres as well. That's going to be, again, tyres are going to be one of the talking points of the weekend.
Yeah, I've just had a very long conversation with Mickey Butler from Dunlop about this from Goodyear about this very thing. There's new surface on the track at Clearways, Surtees Clearways, and coming out of Clearways. The drivers have tested here before, but not with this surface and not in these temperatures, so it's a real journey into the unknown. Some guys went for longer runs there in FP1, and Mickey's saying they're reporting that, yeah, the tyres were going away, particularly the softs, but he said it's just the tyres doing what soft tyres do. You know, they're meant to, they're supposed to add a strategic element into the racing, and they're just behaving like they're supposed to behave. So it's up to the drivers to use a bit of brain power. It's not just about the right foot, it's about the grey matter as well, making sure they look after the tyres. At Donington Park as well, you know, we saw some drivers were very close to the edge in terms of tyre wear. Again, like you said, another boiling hot day. It's about drivers learning to cope with the conditions that's put in front of them. No one tells them that they have to go flat out on every corner.
Now, that's an interesting point, isn't it? Because it's a short lap here, it's 47 seconds and spit, isn't it? And it's often seen by the drivers as 24 laps of sprint. But maybe some F1-style tyre management might make the difference this weekend.
Yeah, and this is where you'll see the cream of the crop right to the top. You know, we always say it, and it does happen, because the drivers that are not only just pushing the car to the limit, but have spare brain capacity to work out the longer picture, the bigger game, you know, what's going to be going on. They're the ones that will have an advantage. And I think that's brilliant, actually, because as much as we love the door-handle-to-door handle stuff, which is what the BCC is known for and is great at, you want drivers, the intelligent drivers, to make their way to the front. And those that are maybe in a car that's underperforming slightly can use that intelligence to make their way to the front and pick off guys later on in the race. So it's not a leveller, but you can see the drivers that are thinking more and working harder technically to get themselves further up the order, which I love.
We're expecting the usual suspects to do well here. However, FP1, top of the timings, Charles Rainford, smile on his face. He's a quick boy.
Yeah, very quick boy, and he had a torrid sort of debut at Donington. Actually had a puncture. We were talking about tyres. We didn't really deliver what he wanted. And to be fair, the whole West Surrey crew, including Jake Hill, were a bit all at seas at Donington. They have said there's, you know, the handling of the car needs working on. They've worked very hard. Charles said he'd spent a lot of time in the factory going through with the boys, going through the data to work out how they've could make it better. And it appears they have. It's early days. It's only FP1. We'll see what happens when the big boys put the big boots on, and you know, people like Tom and Ash get into qualifying. They're just different level, and Jake. It's great to see them doing well, and I'm pleased that the BMW's back towards the front. Just hope that can be maintained.
Yeah, free practice is always housekeeping, isn't it? And it's nice to have the bragging rights, but we don't take a great deal from it. So looking forward to the weekend, are we going to be talking about the usual suspects, or is there a dark horse in there, do you think, Matt?
It depends what you call a dark horse, isn't it, really? I mean, I've said it from the start of the season. Josh Cook is always one I think is going to be right up there, and he's got a great record here, particularly in that Honda. Sort of didn't quite get the results he needed at Donington, and he's desperate to perform. So we'll see what he can do. You'd be very brave to bet against Tom or Ash locking out the front row with Jake nipping at their heels. But if there is going to be a surprise, I think it could be Josh.
I've just seen somebody underneath his car fiddling about with what looked like gears and all the rest of it, and cogs and stuff, which I know nothing about, which could mean gear ratios, or it could be an issue with the gearbox, I suppose.
He's just a fussy little sausage, isn't he? He probably wasn't quite doing what he wanted and wanted it changed. He just likes to make the mechanics work hard. He had a bit of a torrid free practice at Donington as well. We had to have an engine change. So I mean, good for him. He knows the car and he knows the track well enough that he doesn't need all the track time, but it's a shame if they're having to do that at this stage, but rather get it out of the way on Saturday morning than have to do it on Sunday.
This weather is going to mean we're going to have a big crowd as usual here at Brands Hatch, and they are going to see some great racing, I think, aren't they?
Brands Hatch Indy always delivers, and it's one of the best venues in the country, because you stand at the top of paddock or in the grandstand, you can more or less see the whole circuit. The cars remain tightly bunched because it's so short, the circuit's so short. Great weather, you'll be providing the ice creams on race day, I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
right. Well, I think we're set fair for a good weekend.
Yeah.